underway. Are you ready? The Las Vegas Aces are up with the first selection. With the first pick in the 2018 WNBA Draft, the Las Vegas Aces select Asia Wilson from the University of South Carolina.
It's such a great feeling. It means a lot to me. Just kind of to cap off my whole collegiate career with this, and this is a great class. And just to be at the top, it really makes my heart warm. I'm pretty sure you can see my heart pounding through my jumpsuit when she was announcing. But this is a great feeling. The nerves are gone now, but it's truly a blessing.
Asia, have you had a chance to talk with Coach Lambier yet? What are kind of your expectations to play under him in Vegas?
Haven't really got a chance to really talk to him. I'm pretty sure that his expectations are pretty much kind of the same with Coach Staley. It's like, you got to come in and be effective as soon as possible. And that's something that I have to be ready for. Got to get my body right, got to get my mind right, because this is a whole different league. So I think his expectations are pretty similar. He's expecting me to do the things that I did in college, which made him want me. So I can't really get down on myself at times. I just got to keep pushing through.
How do you feel about playing in Vegas and living in Vegas now?
I'm excited. I've been out there once when I was younger. I saw a little BB King. I think that was before my time. But went out there, and I think it's a great place, it's a great atmosphere, and I'm glad that we're starting a WNBA team there, and just to be a foundation with that.
And what do you think you have to do? Is there any area of your game you have to improve to be successful in the pro game?
Oh yes, become very consistent with my outside jump shot. I think people are really going to try to play me for the drive. They're going to scout me like crazy. So really with me, it would just have to be, being consistent and stuff like that.
Yeah. What is that question about when you make the jump, you need to break the college player, what you have to do, be more physical, more endurance? What are you bringing to the table already that's going to play?
I would have to say my versatility and I guess my quickness as a big. In the league, it is great bigs, but I think kind of a quickness is kind of something that I can do. My first step is pretty quick, and so that's what I'm going to keep getting stronger in that position, and also work on knocking down my jump shot consistently.
Not just on the court, but off the court. Can you talk to me about what you really want to do as the number one pick to kind of elevate this thing and elevate women's basketball?
Yeah, I'm just going to use the platform that I'm on right now and just try to branch out and help people understand that we love the game, we're passionate about it. We should get enough respect to where we can kind of get the crowd pumping and get it kind of people energized about the game. So I'm definitely going to use everything that I can to just reach out to the community and everybody around me, whether it's Las Vegas, South Carolina, New York, anywhere, just to help people kind of bring everyone together with women's basketball.
Do you feel like your personality is more tailored to do that? You kind of have that outgoing personality to be the kind of face that can help push this forward?
Yeah, sure. I feel like I've kind of been put in this position, and I'm just going to embrace it all and keep working.
What's going on, everybody? Another wonderful week here. You are tuned in right now to The Focus TV, joined by Miss Octavia Wyatt. We got Cardell Dudley, Wilson Tarpey Jr., and we got a lot to talk about. So last week, we told you guys if you follow along on social media, it's pretty much, it was a grind last week. Cardell was down in Southern VA, down at Portsmouth Tournament for seniors entering the NBA draft. Big opportunity for them, to go at it, make a name for themselves. Try to find their place in the league, in a couple months when draft day comes up. And for those that go undrafted too, it was a big impression. A lot of league folks in the building. We had the WNBA draft. You just saw the number one pick, Asia Wilson, who went to the Las Vegas Aces. To kick off our show. Definitely enjoyed that last week. Nike headquarters in New York. DC United game this past week as well. Some arena football. It was just it's a busy week. That being said, Cardell, we're going to start with you, man, with Portsmouth. I know it was exciting. I know for all those that follow on social media, they got an idea of what went on. For those that didn't, there's an opportunity to let them know.
Once again, it was a great event. I love it because it's competitive and it's right in front of everybody. Every basketball player dreams of one day being in front of pro scouts from the NBA, overseas, and everybody's there. Like every team is represented from around the world, every league, country, you name it, they're there. And so you pretty much know if you're there, you're going to get a decent job. So the goal is to try to attract NBA attention. And 66 of the top seniors, they get invited based on, it's not just your stats and wins and your production as a player. They actually go by, even academic stuff, because all that equates into you being a good pro. They don't want, no knuckleheads or anything like that. And one thing, I see that is kind of a problem with those players. Like they come in thinking, they want to play one way because they've been playing like that their whole careers, but they also are kind of blind about like, well, what do the NBA want? So you can see a lot of them kind of at first they playing confused or something, but then as they just go along, they just start hooping. But as always, there were standouts there. And then, let me just start off with everybody there can hoop. I'm not going to just, that doesn't mean all these other guys I don't name can't play. Like everybody there were nice, and you could just look at their numbers and just just look them up and see, understand how nice they are. And that tells you how hard it is to make the league, how elite the NBA is, because all these guys are talented. But I'm going to start with Jalen Barford out of Arkansas. He actually won MVP. He came in right away trying to get it in. Like he wasn't playing any games. He was jacking a little bit to me early, but he calmed down, and he's a crafty finisher, efficient scorer. I don't think people realize he shot 43% from three, and that's in the SEC, playing against the Kentuckys and the Florida. So, that was against big-time competition, and he's fearless in the clutch. Like when the game was on the line, he routinely took the shot and made them. So he's fearless. He has defensive tools. He has a nice size for a guard. He's strong and lateral quickness, but he gambles a lot because he's trying to get that hero steal and go for it. But he could play, man. He got the MVP, so more than likely he'll probably get the invite to the combine up in Chicago and try to make his mark, try to get that nice NBA bag. Shannon Evans out of Arizona State. A lot of people, was hearing about Arizona State early in the season when they was comparing backcourts, kind of like with Trae Young and Colin Sexton, and then was blowing up and stuff like that. He was like the unsung hero on Arizona State. I really didn't know too much about him before Portsmouth, but he came in and he plays before feet. They try to do a jazz step and dribble. He right there taking the charge in the backcourt. He routinely did it. It was getting to the point they just stopped dribbling. They would just pass it to the other guard, just run up court. So he definitely might get some looks just off of that side. But he could play. He can also score. He's tough. Even though he's small, he finished through contact. The only thing, he needs to get stronger and more efficient with his jumper, because when he had wide open jumpers, he didn't always hit them. Just to keep the defense honest. Devin Hall out of Virginia, 6'5", 211, man. That dude, he was probably one of the, if not one of the most efficient shooters at the PIT. He could fill it up from anywhere. You can't leave him. He can score from all three levels, has good size to be a pro, especially at the NBA level. I just wanted to see more as a playmaker. And, he has the tools to become a complete shooting guard, which I think is big for him, trying to draw NBA attention. I'm not sure if he would have to go to the G League first, but, I could see him down the line, being on the NBA roster. George King out of Colorado, I didn't really hear much about him coming in. That's the beauty of these type of events. You may not hear about the players, but you learn about them real quick. He was one of the more impressive players at the PIT, just consistent, man. He was, solid in all facets of the game. He could score, rebound, pass. And one thing I love about him, he don't play outside himself. Like, he know who he is. So that's what make you really great. A lot of guys are trying to do stuff that they normally wouldn't do because they out of the rigid structure of their college program. But, with him, he just stayed true to him. And he was one of the best players at the camp. At the tournament. Kellen Martin, a lot of people probably heard of him. He played for Butler. He was the leading scorer, averaged 21.2 points a game, 6.3 rebounds. One thing I didn't know that he was that great of a shooter. I think I saw him kind of hit tough shots in the clutch, but really he could shoot off the bounce. He could shoot spot up, pick and roll. I mean, he's just deadly. And that 6'7" with the kind of small ball that they play in the NBA, you can just kind of tell that it's a place for him if he gets to the right team. That's the thing about him. He got to kind of get to the right team to kind of flourish early.
I had a quick question about him. From what you're saying, What's his release like? Is it a compact release, something that's going to be easy to get off in next level, or?
It wasn't close to getting blocked there. You
Okay.
know what I'm saying? So I think he was fine. He's a very good rebounder for his size and a solid defender. He has sneaky athleticism. He don't look like he'll dunk on you, but he will. And he's versatile. He could play anywhere from the 2 to the 4 because of his strength. He just need to improve at making players around him better because he kind of gets tunnel vision when he get the ball like it's a bucket. He kind of just stay stuck in that mode. But if he can do all the scoring and get others involved, he'll be dangerous. But I mean, people shouldn't be shocked because he went to work all season. Tyler Nelson, I never even heard of him, out of Fairfield, 6'3" guard. Man, that dude lit it up. That's the kid that, if you seen the highlight, he hit the game winner. Like, that's what makes him nasty. His IQ. In a championship game, Carrington scored a layup, the go-ahead layup. And what he did, he leaked out. While everybody was focused on Carrington making the layup and celebrating, he leaked out. And luckily, his teammate had the presence of mind to see him. Yeah, and that's when he hit the layup and won the game. And that's what basically he did the whole camp. He just out-thought guys and made it happen. Made plays, scored. He could shoot it. He was, he shot 35% from 3 out there, 88% from the from the free throw line. Savvy ball handler, playmaker, clutch player, as I said. He's an undersized scoring guard, and he has average athleticism, so I don't know if that will quite translate to maybe an NBA look, but definitely overseas, he's a lock if he chooses to go over there and maybe spend some time in the G League trying to get to the NBA to develop a little bit more. But, yeah, he impressed me, man. I never heard of him, but he fit right in. Kendrick Nunn, I was tweeting about him all day. I wanted to see him because he had as much buzz as any guard this past season. Because he transferred from Illinois, Oakland guard, 6'3", 184, averaged 25 a game, 4.7 rebounds, 3.8 assists, 1.5 steals, man. He shot 39% from 3. To me, he was the best player there. He has everything. He kind of reminds me of a less athletic Terry Rozier, but he's still athletic enough to get the job done. He plays defense. Watching him kind of throughout the season, he was required to score the ball, so I wasn't sure if he can run point. But he showed he could run point there. Off the pick and roll, he was patient, finding guys. He was picking the spots when to score, when to pass. And, that's what the pros kind of look for, man. He's a good athlete. He's strong, already got the pro body. He's ready to step in and go to work right now if they could bring him in. So don't be surprised if you see him, on a roster this upcoming season. Elijah Stewart, to me, he was probably the best athlete there out of USC, 6'5" guard. He got, dunk contest athleticism. When he goes to the lane, he's going to dunk. He was dangerous in transition, dangerous slashing to the goal. He could shoot the ball. He shot 39% for 3 this past season, 45% from the field. He could do it all. Has the tools to be a standout defender, if he learns not to gamble so much. Because that's what I'm saying, with the athleticism, he's trying to get out on the open floor, do his thing. With him, he just need to, improve his handle and, play making a little bit. But he definitely going to be in a lot of workouts trying to, earn a spot in the league. A name that most people around here should be familiar with, Justin Tillman out of VCU, 6'8", 220. Man, he's a double-double machine. He was the best rebounder. I think in one game he had 14 rebounds and a half. He's a beast, man. He scores well in the paint, on the block. He can post up, rebounds at a high rate. He got to improve his jumper, I think, for him to kind of get an NBA look. That's just what it is. At 6'8", he gonna be playing the 3-4. He gotta be able to hit a jumper, and that's something that he hasn't really shown he could do consistently. If he get that, he'll definitely be in the league because he has everything else. He plays defense. He plays hard. He's battle tested. Obviously, being in VCU for 4 years, so that's the thing where I could see scouts like, I don't know, man, because he'll be a liability, and we see what happens when guys can't shoot at those positions. It hurts your team. So he'll have his chance. And Kyle Washington out of Cincinnati, he kind of got behind Gary Clark and all those guys, and he kind of was like the unsung hero. But he actually impressed me, man. 6'9", 230, strong, skilled, low post scorer who can step out and hit jumpers. 3-point range, mid range, good defender. Obviously, if you're gonna play at Cincinnati, you gotta be a good defender. Sneaky athleticism, caught many lobs there. He tries to block shots, dunking traffic. Potential stretch four is what I see him as, but he has to improve his rebounding and his age. He's 25, so his upside, they might look at his upside like it's limited because by him already being 25. And those were the top 10 players, man. You can check out the honorable mention: Justin Bibbs out of Virginia Tech, Kadeem Carrington out of Seton Hall, Hayden Dalton out of Wyoming, Brandon Goodwin out of Florida Gulf Coast, B.J. Johnson out of LaSalle, Justin Johnson of Western Kentucky, Jock Landale, St. Mary's, 6'11" center. Marcus Lee, former Kentucky forward out of Cal. Zach Lofton, New Mexico State guard. Yontae Mayton out of Georgia. Andrew Rousey from Marquette. And Jared Terrell out of Rhode Island. And, that's pretty much who stood out to me.
All right. I was just nodding my head in agreement with Gary Clark.
Right.
I was a UConn fan. I'm happy to see him leave the AAC. Gary Clark was annoying. That was a grown man.
Yeah.
He did grown man things.
And he was a beast there, too.
No, that's why I said, like, everything you said, I was over here just testifying. I can't, I'm happy he's moving on to the next level. I'm anxious to see where he ends up. And the point you brought up about, maybe him having limited upside, obviously, because of the age.
Right.
The good thing is if you're a team that already,
right.
If you're one of the, it sucks to say, but if you're one of the better teams in the league,
you want somebody that come in and ready to play.
Because it's not going to take as long to get you acclimated. You're grown.
Right.
You know exactly who you are. You obviously know how to fit into a role. So that's the type of guy where I'd be looking to see where Gary ends up.
Mm-hmm.
Is probably one of them teams out west that's poking around. But I just definitely think that, because a lot of time everyone gets excited about upside this time of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And just wanted to point out that there's positives sometimes. Some guys can still make a way.
Oh, no
even
doubt.
though that upside's not
Upside
the
get
end
you
all
fired.
be all.
Upside to get you fired. I mean, they reach their potential, but you be watching. That's how it usually works. So you gotta be careful. It's an exact science. So we'll see with the draft.
Yep. So everybody get over to finestmag.com for more info, more highlights on the Pitt tournament this year. So we got a lot left. You're watching the Focus TV. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll talk about the WNBA, talk about the draft a little bit, but more specifically, the player the Washington Mystics took with the 7th overall pick. Got a quick DC United update. And then, after that, we got a lot planned for you. It's award season here on the Focus TV. We're going to see how everybody's teams matched up, how these awards go out. Then we got a couple new series we're breaking out, man. There's a lot of things going on tonight. Stick with us. You're watching the Focus TV. Welcome back to the Focus TV. Octavia, it's not right to count people's steps. I'm snitching. But as always, just a quick shout out to our guy Rodney, man. Always doing a great job making sure this thing runs smoothly. That being said, man, WNBA, we got a lot going on over at My Mono Sports. You get over to the YouTube page. We got some interviews or snippets from the 10 players in attendance, 9 of which went in the first round. So get over there, definitely check that out. As we said, we had Asia interview at the beginning of our show tonight. But about Ariel Atkins. So what was interesting about the draft, a lot of mock drafts with the WNBA. A couple episodes we had on Anila Khan, and she talked about the draft leading up to it. And one of the things she mentioned Ariel Atkins, but most people expected Ariel to be taken in the second round. The Mystics took her in the first round with the 7th overall pick. Almost everybody mocked Mississippi State wing Victoria Vivians to the Washington Mystics. But I had to do a little bit of homework. Wasn't super familiar with Ariel Atkins, so this is what I came back with. She's a 5'11" guard, 121 career games at Texas. She started in 100 of them. On 81 occasions, she scored 20 points. This past year, she averaged 15 points with 2.5 steals. She was one of the best defenders in her conference, and she had 8 20-point games this season. She shot 42% from deep, which if you know anything about Coach Sabolt's offense in Washington, they're really, they're all about that pace and space. And having knockdown shooters is definitely going to get her an opportunity to be on the court. And she has ability to play both guard positions at 5'11". That's not bad size at all. Looking forward to see how she fits in. But I'm very happy with her addition. Again, at first, was kind of taken back because I, like everyone, assumed that Victoria Vivians was going to be the player. But doing a little homework, a lot of coaches, especially her coach at Texas, felt that she was an ideal fit for the Sabolt system here in Washington. So, look forward to seeing how Ariel acclimates herself to this roster And I mean, training camp starts in like a week and some change. WNBA season is pretty much here. All right, so DC United, slow start to the year. They got their first win this weekend. And I know what you're laughing already. Pettis, you got to stop texting people.
The hell with you, bro. Like, that's messed up.
You got to stop texting people during shows. And that's not nice at all.
That's messed up.
And look, I know exactly what you were laughing at. All right, but back to the topic at hand.
I don't want to know.
DC United, it's quite funny. I'll show you during break. All right, so they got their first win of the season this past week against Columbus. It was their second away from home game. Everyone knows they've been mostly on the road for much of the beginning of the season. After last week, they completed their second away from home game. So guess what? They're going back on the road until like July 14th.
Thanks.
Yeah, so they'll be home for practice. They got this week. They don't play a game this week. They play next week. They take on Philadelphia. But to tell you how they got this win, it was actually, a lot of people it was probably an ugly win, but a win is a win, nonetheless, especially when you're in need of it. Shout out to Ulysses Segura. He scored his first goal as a member of DC United. He's one of the many new faces on this roster, and he did so in record time. I believe it's the third or fourth fastest goal by DC United player as far as franchise history goes. He scored in less than a minute. It was a beautiful setup. Paul Areola played the ball back to Nick DeLeon. He played up into the box. Luciano Acosta got a touch on it. And it was literally just a touch, a clever little back heel back to Areola, who's running on into the box. He played the ball over to the center of the box, and Segura didn't waste any time. He just one-timed it, just right past the keeper into the far post. And then from then on, DC United had a couple more chances in the first half. They just couldn't finish them. But then Paul Areola got in a little bit of trouble in the second half. So they got review in soccer, which I hope the NFL kind of adopts this a little bit better. It works so much quicker. They get through that so much quicker. It's faster than NBA review as well. But poor Areola was a kind of a retaliatory foul. Went in, slid in, studs up. First was issued a yellow card. They did a review. He got a red card, so DC United had to play with a man down, meaning they had to finish the game with 10 men. I want to credit Ben Olsen. It was kind of weird. It was a shock. But all three substitutions he had in the second half were all defense. And it paid off. Brought in some bigger players. He brought in another center back, so all three center backs on the roster were on the field at that time. When Neil Fisher came in, he's a fullback. He came in out wide to help. And Chris Durkin, the youngster, he came in at halftime. But they did a great job. Columbus was really trying to penetrate the defense. Only had a couple scares. Shout out to Steve Clark on his birthday. He got a clean sheet. Not a bad thing. Get a shutout on your birthday. Played a big role in your team's first win of the year. Again, their next game is April 28th. We are in April, right?
We are.
Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. So April 28th, they'll be in Philadelphia to take on the Union. So we're going to take our second break of the night. But before we go on a break, before we get into our second break of the night, the first of our two new series this evening we want to debut. This is called the Breakdown Series with 9450 founder Jamal Haywood. In this, helping him demoing in this is former UConn and UNLV wing Roscoe Smith. Cardell, I know he's on the G League team.
Greensboro Swarm.
Thank you, Greensboro Swarm. See, I know I forgot something. So we're going to take a quick look at that, go into the break, and then when we get back, you'll find out who made these old NBA teams. Going to be kind of controversial. Can't wait.
Bring that ball away from the defender, too, also.
All right, we want to welcome back to the show, first of all. Secondly, what you watched that was a demo of the Up and Under. Fundamental basketball, man. You got to start somewhere. It kind of pays off.
You have to know that.
Kind of pays off. Kind of pays off. So, again, thank you to Jamal Haywood and 9450. All right, so we're going to get into this right now, guys. All right, so how we want to do this? NBA awards.
Let me get my sheet out.
Yeah. Go ahead, Octavia.
Why I got to go first?
Because you the Super Bowl
Ladies
champ.
first.
You won.
Ladies Super
You
Bowl
won.
champ.
We losing.
Winners. My team don't know how to spell winners. None of my teams do. That's a fact.
winning. Okay.
Really?
What we starting with though? We
We
starting with
can start
awards
with-
or
we can
all
start with the
team?
awards and then we get to the all team.
Okay. So for rookie of the year, I got Ben Simmons.
Okay.
MVP, I have James Harden.
Okay.
Coach of the year, I have Brad Stevens. Most improved, although I don't really feel like he's improved, but I feel like the world is just not really seeing what he's able to do. So I'm going to go with Vic Oladipo. Sixth man, Lou Will. And my defensive player of the year is Rudy Gobert.
All right. Cardell, up next.
Coach of the year is I'm gonna give it to Quinn Snyder with the Jays. Most improved is Victor Oladipo. You know, because I think he improved across the board. You know, just his averages went up across the board in points, rebounds, assists, and steals, and efficiency. That's the key. You know, he went up from 15-4-2 last season to 23-5-4-2.4 now. Yeah, he put that work in, so respecting him. Sixth man, I'm going with Lou Williams. And he averaged 22 off the bench. Last year he averaged 14. That's a hell of a jump. Defensive player of the year. I don't know why a lot of people not talking about him. I'm gonna give it to Anthony Davis, man. Okay. He led the NBA in blocks and was 15th in steals and 5th in rebounds. You know, that's a total body of, you know, just dominant defense, man. He's been key. Rookie of the year, Ben Simmons. You know, led Philly to a 52-27 record with Embiid before y'all hit me up saying all that. 24-game improvement from a 28-win season last year, averaging 15.8, 8.2 assists, and 8.1 rebounds. I mean, enough said, you know, can't really argue with that. My MVP, I'm going with James Harden. Led the NBA with 30.4 points per game, 8.8 assists. And what people don't know, he actually improved his defense. He actually gets in the way now. He's 7th in the NBA in steals, 1.8. You know what I'm saying? Right behind him, I had Anthony Davis at MVP, and then I had LeBron. You know what I'm saying? People won't probably get mad or whatever. You can't be MVP when you lose half your team at the All-Star break and stuff like that, man. I'm sorry. And the way Anthony Davis stepped up when Boogie Cousins went down and got them in the playoffs and possibly getting out this round because he's the X factor. I mean, that's what being MVP is all about. He stepped up, man. You know, so I just can't ignore the stuff that happened in Cleveland and, you know, the half effort and not playing defense at all this year. Like the LeBronites try to ignore, but that's how I go.
LeBron Knights, huh? Okay.
That's what we call them.
All right. So I'm going to jump on this whole wagon with everybody rookie of the year. I feel like it's quite obvious. I got Ben Simmons. MVP, got James Harden. Again, feel like it's obvious. My coach of the year is probably a little bit different than everybody else's, I believe. I got Brett Brown with the Sixers. I know it's talented. I know we expected them to improve, but expecting them to do it and them actually doing, I want to give him credit for winning with a young team. When you like your young, like your big guns. I'm sorry, we're your youngsters, and I'm not diminishing the role the vets played because you know Redick, Bellinelli, Cove. Amir Johnson.
Your boy Sart.
Amir Johnson. We talk about vets. Why are you trying to do that to me, man? All right, so that's why I'm going with Brett Brown. I just think, you know, we've seen so hard, especially with about the team here, about teams taking the next step and actually taking it. I want to give credit. Like, that's one heck of an improvement. And they actually did what some people expected them to do. They didn't fall short. 52 wins. No one called that
that's
out.
a hell of a
Okay,
season.
let's call that what it is. We were like, oh, they might make the playoffs. Cool. Not only that, they were third seed.
Yeah.
And they earned it. All right.
I'm not arguing.
So that I'm just saying that's just sharing my reasons. And I don't knock the Quinn Snyder. I like that as well. Just again, I'm just going with Brett Brown just because they're kids. Most improved, Victor Oladipo. Just come on, man. We talk about. We're literally in a place where we talk about as one of the better two-way players in the league. That's the type of jump he made this year. Arguably in a conversation for the best shooting guard in the league. Like legit conversation. And he's at the top part of that conversation, not the middle at that. But we can have that for another day. Sixth man of the year, Lou Williams. I gave Rudy Gobert defensive player of the year, but I'm kind of torn. Drew Holiday deserves shouts for that. He hasn't got enough credit. And I know Anthony Davis has been amazing. Other people have stepped up, and Drew Holiday's been one of those guys. I know it's not just about the play, you know, the big plays he made, I think in game one the other night, but he's been solid all year. And sometimes it's hard to watch the Pelicans and even think and realize, you know, to take your eyes off of AD. It's really hard sometimes to watch him and notice anything else. But that's why I'm going with Rudy Gobert, but I just want to shout out Drew Holiday. So, all NBA, we want to start with the third teams first and work our way up. All right, let's go with the third team. So, Octavia, ladies first as always.
All right, so on the third team I have, this is always hard for me picking these people because it's just like, gosh. Third team I got Chris Paul, DeMar DeRozan. I actually put Ben Simmons. Jimmy Butler, and Karl Anthony Towns.
All right, Cardell.
Are we going third team? All right, my third team was Steph, Jimmy Butler, Kyrie, Joel Embiid, and Nikola Jokic. Jokic, whatever you want to call it. Joker.
Joker, yeah.
All right, so third team for me, I got Simmons, DeRozan, Jimmy Butler, Al Horford, and Joel Embiid. And I guess I'll do my second team.
And then go back around. Gotcha.
All right, so second team, I got Dame Dollar, so Octavia should be happy. Vic Oladipo, Giannis, LaMarcus Aldridge, who's been amazing this year for the Spurs, and Karl Anthony Towns.
So I got Russell Westbrook, Victor Oladipo, Giannis, LaMarcus Aldridge, and Joel Embiid.
I went with Oladipo, Giannis, KD, DeMar DeRozan, LaMarcus Aldridge.
All right, so Cardell, since when you last go ahead with you can start with the first team and we'll work our way back around.
My first team was James Harden.
Okay.
I went with Damian Lillard, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook.
Okay.
All right, so I have basically all the same except for one, but I have Dame, James Harden, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Anthony Davis.
All right, I got Russ, Harden, Bron, KD, and AD.
So yeah, first and second teams are kind of interchangeable a little tiny bit.
I mean, look, it was tough to make
It's real
decisions.
tough, yeah, because I feel like a lot of the decisions, at least on my part, was some of it was based off of health. You know, because a lot of them, to me, they didn't get to play for a long stretches of period because of health. You know, Dame, of course, he played way more than he has in the past. But I think a lot of injuries kind of hampered some of them. But, you know, it's always a tight race when you're going all-NBA team first, second, and third.
Man, nah, it was really tough. I was sitting here at the table like, Cardell, where did you count Ben Simmons at to try to figure out how to – because I was trying to, I'm not going to lie, I was trying to finesse my teams to try to get another guard on with Ben.
Same.
But, you know, Cardell, he told the truth. He's a point guard, man, so it is what it is. Had to move some things around. And it hurt me to cut Steph out.
Me too, but then that's one of the ones I say about the injuries. Like don't get me wrong, Steph is always going to be Steph, but I feel like the injuries kind of plagued him a little bit, and I feel like that was one reason why I kind of put KD in there, because I feel like he stepped up a lot when Steph was out. Even though it's KD, he's supposed to do things like that, but actually doing it, and especially being on the team for the second year, and trying to not. I feel like he's the type that doesn't try to take over, but he knows he has to in a certain sense. So yeah, it was kind of tough.
All right. You want to move into the next new series? Okay. So the next new series we got for you guys, this is going to be fun. This is Washington Wizards specific. I don't want to know the score of the game.
I can tell you if you want.
Go ahead. I know you can.
I mean, when I looked at halftime, it was like 78-56 or 76-58. One of those. They were talking about 18.
Okay.
But
anything changed since?
It was halftime, and it's now what they're coming back. 78-65.
Okay.
9 minutes and 30 seconds left in the third.
Okay.
And just while we're on it, just to give a quick update, Boston and Milwaukee. Boston has 30. Milwaukee has 19, and it's almost the end of the first.
All right, so we're going to jump, and the reason I wanted to ask the Wizards score, just so we could jump into this next segment, it has everything to do with the Washington Wizards. This is literally about the constructs of their roster going into the draft, where they may be picking, and what they need. You guys might notice a theme here in the coming weeks with this series, position-wise. That being said, all right, Cardell, go ahead and let you kick it off with the player that you chose to start this series off with, sir. All
right, I think it's obvious with the Wizards, the glaring weaknesses in the front court. They need size and athleticism bad, you know what I'm saying? So one prospect I'm looking at who's projected to go around the time the Wizards supposed to pick mid to late first rounds, Mitchell Robinson. Kid, he was actually signed up with Western Kentucky, and he opted to sit out and just train to get ready for the draft. But he's a 7-foot kid without shoes, 7'1" with shoes, 220 pounds. He played at Chalmette in Louisiana High School. He has a 7'4" wingspan, 9'3" standing reach. And this was measured at the USA Under-19 trial, so it's not just some random, measurements.
Legit measurements.
Yeah, So he was a McDonald's All-American, Jordan Brand All-American, and looking at him, I kind of thought he was raw. I saw him on the circuit. I thought he was raw. I was, moving back and forth. I thought he was just a raw prospect, but he actually has a nice foundation, man. He's very athletic for his size. He's a strong finisher around the basket. Like he don't mess around. Like the frustration we kind of see with Gortat with the friend. No, he's going up to dunk it, and I routinely saw him just, even with a body in front of him, off a miss, he'd just, from a standstill, just jump up and dunk on that defender like it was nothing. He has decent touch, but he obviously has to work on his jumper. But he has touch, so that's just half the battle. Most bigs, they have no touch at all, and they got to develop that as well. It's a nice form, but he has touch around, already. So which means he could possibly be a big that could step out and hit jumpers down the line. High motor, great hands, plays hard. He runs the floor well, which I love. Playing with John Wall, you got to be able to run. Gifted shot blocker, and Lord knows they need that. They need that more than anything. And you know what I'm saying? And he's actually laterally quick, which means in pick and roll, he can get out on guards and stay with them. You need to be able to do that as well in today's NBA. His upside is crazy, but weaknesses are obviously lack of experience, sitting out there, you're not playing in college. You're gonna be playing against grown men, so you got to get stronger and needs to develop just fundamental skills, ball handling, his shooting. Just know-how, knowing when to pass when the double team coming out, recognizing when the double team is going to come. So you already 2 steps ahead. That comes with experience. He's going to have to put in a lot of work. But from just watching him again and just studying film, he could be anywhere from a DeAndre Jordan type to Kevin Garnett type because of how hard he plays. I say I know that's a long reach Hall of Fame KG first ballot for sure, but if people look at Kevin Garnett when he was in high school, it was similar. Now KG may have played harder, more. He was more vicious with it. But this kid plays hard, especially for what we see in today's players, and so I like his potential. I'm pretty sure he'll probably be in for a workout, being projected around that time. But they need the strengths that he had, the natural ability that he has. They need that now. Like, I wish he could just go to Toronto and just block shots and rebound right now, so he can help. So being 7'7" legit with that length, you gotta look at him.
All right, so interesting. Player I picked shares many of those same things, a couple of those skills. So my guy, Cardell, I know you've heard me talk about him a couple times. Anybody else that knows me, we talk about Wizards in the draft a little bit. I'm really high on Robert Williams. Big out of Texas A&M, 6'10", 240 pounds. He averaged 10 points, 9.2 rebounds last year, and 2.5 blocks a game. He's SEC. He won the SEC Defensive Player of the Year, both 2017 and 2018, his freshman and sophomore year. He was also made the SEC All-Defensive Team both of those years as a youngster, as a freshman and a sophomore. All right, so the pros. I know we got some couple pitches up at the moment. He's extremely bouncy. All right, like dumb bouncy. If you guys remember DeAndre Jordan before, he got like the extra 20 pounds of muscle on his body. This kid at 240 is already kind of rocked up, so he's not as DeAndre had to still physically mature a little bit. This kid's maybe a step ahead in that regard, and he's already there at the 240. It's not a child's 240. He plays like a grown man. He has an active motor. His wingspan, I look forward to the combine if he's invited to get that exact measurement. Seen it a couple places between 7'4" and 7'6". Either way, at 6'10", that's not a bad. It's not a bad measurement, all right? A lot of things pop up that he's a coachable guy, which is big because he's far from a finished product. Like Mitchell, you brought up, there's things that he's good at right now. They're going to help translate in terms of what the Wizards need, but he's still kind of raw, even though he had 2 years in school. He plays above the rim, both ends, very much so above the rim, and he's active on both ends. In the rebounding, he needs to work a little bit better on little things like boxing out. Right. But the thing I like is, how some guys will wait for the ball to come to them when rebounding. He goes gets it. And that's why the boxing out issue with him, he got away with it in college. You're going to have to box out in the league. But the fact he's going to go get the ball that's out of ice point. He's not going to wait for it to come down. Just to give you an idea to how far above the rim he plays. He's not waiting for the ball to come down. He's going to get that ball whether it's on the defensive glass or the offensive glass. Some of the cons, he's kind of raw offensively. Even though he's raw offensively, one thing, we saw him a couple times at Texas A&M, he can face up and use his athleticism first step to get by you. It's not like a wealth of skills in that sense. He's not going to face up, give you a bunch of jabs, maybe hit you with a jump or anything like that. Nah, he's going to face up, put the ball on the floor, and try to dunk over you or through you. His free throw percentage is abysmal. All right, so we're not going to play with that at all. Like, it was like 59% his freshman year, dropped to the 40s sophomore year. He's been a late bloomer. One of the things is, because he's kind of up and down tank, but, there's a noticeable, he's kind of young. There's a little bit of drop off for a little bit. Again, it's our job to be objective and be honest here. And then, as I said, he relies on his athleticism a little bit too much, which is, okay, these are just facts. You're that crazy athletic, you're going to do that. He's going to have to work on the little things. But again, he fits what the Wizards need up front. I know he's only 6'10", but with the wingspan and that type of motor and just being that bouncy, I remember what John Collins did to the Wizards just by being active. And this kid's bigger than him in terms of just mass-wise. He's bigger than him. And John Collins was annoying for the Wizards just because he's bouncy and he has length. This kid, again, he's going to try to finish. That tenacity is something I think they're going to need on both ends of the floor. And even in the pick and roll, Texas and A&M, they had two really good bigs. Tyler Davis was far more polished. But this kid he exceeds him as an athlete. You couldn't really pick on either in the pick and roll, and teams did try to. So he's not a liability. I don't think he's as laterally fluid as Mitchell may be. We're going to see that in some of the testing. But, again, from an athletic standpoint, it far exceeds what's on the roster right now.
Oh, I'm with you. And it's funny you brought up, his, mental toughness and
Yeah.
stuff like that, because that's the same concerns with Mitchell Robinson, with him dropping out of school, the workout, and the fact he's 20 years old, man. He should technically be getting done his junior year, but age-wise. And,
So about for Mitchell?
Yeah, he's 20, so... Hey, yeah, that's a kind of a...
I was like, that's...
Okay. He literally just turned 20 earlier this month.
That's crazy. I need to go back and check Robert's age, because Mitchell may be older than Robert.
Yeah. So that's another thing that, they're going to look at. But, if he go on the workouts and do what he do, kill, they ain't worried about that. They got him, they looking at it like we got him for a good 14, 15 years if he stay healthy.
But, I mean, that's the thing, and I like what Mitchell brings. I think you have more of an upside offensively with Mitchell in terms of somebody you could actually throw the ball down to on a block. I'm not saying that Robert can't get there, but just as of right now, I feel Robert's just more of a, you're plugging him immediately for those defensive contributions.
Right.
He's in it, you can't teach timing for a shot blocker. And you know how sometimes guys that really want blocks, they get in foul trouble a lot? He doesn't foul a lot. Which speaks volumes to me as a young shot blocker.
He goes straight up.
Straight up, and
fundamentals.
And he knows what he can get and what he can't.
Right.
We see time and time again some, athletic bigs that are in the league because of their athleticism. Last night you saw JaVale fouling a 3-point shooter.
I know. But that was the first one I thought of when you said it.
I know, but what I'm saying, you have those type of lapses. And, even in foul trouble, you look at, someone, here looking at Mahimi, there's things he could do if he's on the floor for long periods of time, but he can't stay out of foul trouble. Yeah. So that negates every positive. The fact that the kid was Defensive Player of the Year and stays out of foul trouble, that's huge. Kentucky got a new class of bigs every year. And there's only 2 years you in school, but again, 2.5 blocks a game, and you stay out of foul trouble. I love it. Really bouncy, athletic, but he's someone who should be there at the bottom of the lottery if that's where they're picking.
It's wild how people they don't talk about defense enough until you see clearly that a team don't have it like the Wizards. It's bad when other teams just do what they want. You could take a team being off to a certain extent. You be like, man, they gonna make shots eventually, but defense, dang, man, they just getting whatever they want. No resistance, it's just. So they need something defensively right away, and they're not gonna get Ayton or Bamba, which I wish a miracle happened. They did something, but they're
what
not
that
gonna
would
get
take
that.
would mean somebody who's making a lot of money here no longer being here to get up high enough to get Ayton or Bamba. Just gonna keep it.
At least one of them.
And look, there's just
one.
Tell the truth here. If that's the price for one of those kids, if you're Wizards fans, that's the price for one of them type of bigs. But this is the good thing. What I like about the guys that you do have here, that big doesn't have to be all NBA. Literally, you know what he needs to be all NBA in? Effort, activity.
But we
see
the
other stuff, and you'll be fine.
But that's what we talk about. Pros don't even bring the effort all the time, and part of that talking to scouts at PIT, they keeping it 100. They say part of it is because of the nice paycheck. When you getting that much money, everybody like, man, I'm good. What's the motivation? Whereas if you had to work to get that money, or you gonna bring it, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of the issue, but it separates the greats from the good, the average, and everything like that. Because the greats, they don't need motivate; they already motivated. So I mean, it's just bad, man. So, I mean, I see a lot of bad defense being played, and not just in the NBA
Across the
level.
board.
Yeah, all levels. It's just, you know, even with OKC, people don't want to admit it. They were actually about to get on the streak before Roberson got hurt, and then when he got hurt, it just up and down.
Hey, the first thing I think after he got hurt, a couple games after he got hurt, and I said to you because I was on the other side of the fence, I was say it out loud. He was gone. I was like, oh my Lord, they missed that kid. Like he's life.
And
to
he
them.
really helped.
Like he was life.
And Russell Westbrook always injured, but he really helped Paul George because then Paul George had to become that defender. And then you notice he started being up and down. Some of the like against the top teams shooting 23%. He saved them for that. Man, you'd be surprised, man. Like, but the Wizards, oh man, they need it bad. So.
And I guess what's it called? Like probably later in the series, do they have their second round pick this year as well?
Yeah.
All right, so we're definitely gonna. I think both of the guys we mentioned this week in this draft series were first round guys. Gonna definitely get to looking at that second.
Oh, there's a lot of bigs, man, because there's people declaring still.
And that's the good. Like, it's sad because it's hard to look at this point in time if you're a Wizards fan locked into the playoffs. The positive is this is almost you have to work hard to mess up getting the type of big you need this year. There's so many raw athletic kids in his draft at that position. Again, it's an exact science. Don't know if you're going to pick the right one, but it's not a bad year to get, to finally address this need.
And they got to get somebody that love the game, man. They got to really do their homework and really see these players love to play basketball because, I mean, it's no more time for, projects and stuff because people don't realize, I know Bill's still young, Porter, but Wall 27, man. You know what I'm saying? And, you gonna look up and he 30
he gonna be gone, or he gonna be gone. One of that.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. Let's be honest here. At times you think it's ludicrous to talk about, but it's a business. 1, 2. Not to be mean, man. That's the highest price asset you have on a roster.
Well, a lot of people want him gone. Yeah. And part of me wants him gone because then they appreciate.
I was gonna say because when he gone, then they're gonna be like, oh,
yeah.
can he come back?
When the Wizards back to them bullet years, when it was 20-win season every year, yeah. Then they be like, man, we don't want to hear that.
We should have kept John.
Exactly, we don't want to hear that.
But hopefully, if they can refrain from doing anything too drastic this year, even after how this playoff run goes, I think it could having a big that's protecting the rim would change a lot of the issues this team has. Even on the perimeter, you can guard a little bit tighter, or if you just have a lapse, sometimes, let's be honest, teams that have lapses on the perimeter, you got a dominant shot blocker, it makes you a better defensive team even if you're not trying to be one, just because they're not worried about you. They're worried about him.
Of course. And I know you brought up Drew Holiday, not saying he never played defense, but he's standing, like the way he did a Dame the other night.
But you can because AD's
that's
back
my
there.
whole point.
No, I'm with you.
That's my whole point.
Trust me, there's a reason you can now.
Like
Same thing with Mirotic.
Dame not looking at him necessarily. He's like, I want to go around this corner, but Davis waiting for me.
On the Bulls, how many times we saw people try to pick on Mirotic? Now, do you really want to go by him? Do you want the thing waiting back there?
That's my point. Joel Embiid too. Like with them, the Heat was doing, getting layups and stuff. When he get back, that's gonna stop. Matter of fact, that's what got the Sixers when Hassan Whiteside played more last night. Shot blocker matter, man. You know what I'm saying? Because guys in the NBA, they good enough to get past the first defender. You know what I'm saying? They gonna get, especially if they put them in the pick and roll. They looking at that help side, like who's back there. You know what I'm saying? And that's why Utah is so nasty, man. Gobert. I mean, everybody giving it the attention to Mitchell, and rightfully so. He's a great rookie, but when Gobert got back, that's when it was.
I mean, look, just listen to some of the names we mentioned for Defensive Player of the Year, right? The fact that he's up for that award yet again in that conversation, and he's kind of been, since he's been around in this league, he made his bones on that end of the floor immediately, and he's gotten better and better, even to continue to grow. That's the part of the floor that makes Utah special. It's because of him. No matter what's on the perimeter, it's if you get by those guys, there's a 7-1 mobile thing flying around, waiting. Hey, look, and I'm not even talking about the arms. Like, he's gonna come find you.
Right.
Like, how you're open, give me that. Fast break.
Even JaVale McGee with the Warriors.
People don't want to give that credit. Like, he changes.
I saw him block LaMarcus Aldridge, and then he jumped. Like, when he Aldridge shot a jump hook, and JaVale just beat that jump. Like, man, geez.
Just grab it out the air.
He got his fingertips on one of LaMarcus fadeaway. That is like a patent move. LaMarcus gets that off routinely against whoever. JaVale, big bouncy behind, got a fingertip on it just to alter it. And that type of length bothers you.
Former Wizard. It's ironic what you need now. You ain't appreciate. I mean, he was a goofball then, but still.
But it's crazy because
talent.
It's crazy. Look at the type of bigs we're talking about. What are some of them skills? Like, JaVale's probably only good at a couple things. But they're the things that they literally would love
that they
to
need,
have right now.
and some people don't realize that some, like, especially a lot of kids growing up, a lot of kids that aren't like great offensive players and stuff like that, like they don't even realize, like, even if you're not a great offensive player, like defense can take you a long way. Like I know coaches that would be like, yeah, okay, I can work with you getting your shot right, I can work with you with your free throws and your dribbling and everything like that, but you can't teach
that.
effort, and you can't teach like just drive to get the ball from somebody. So like a lot of kids don't even realize that, like, if you, I mean, you just gotta hone your craft.
And that's just about want to, man, because a lot of people, I mean, you gotta have hard to take the last shot. I'm like, nah, you gotta have hard to guard somebody that you know could bust you, like light you up. Especially these days,
that switch, knowing that there's smoke on the other side of it.
Especially these days when if you get lit up, it's gonna be all over highlights everywhere and stuff like that. Like, but you're right, like what she was saying. What's my man from West Virginia, Javon Carter, or whatever?
Yes.
He got his scholarship all because Bob Huggins in there at 8 a.m. and he see him pressing 94 feet. He the only kid doing it. He like, hold up. And he like, who's this kid? And he saw he do it. He like, man, look, he said he called his assistants like, yo, we need to get this kid. Well, what does he do well? I just know he pressing 94 feet at 8 a.m.
Like something
That's all I need. I mean,
That's all you need.
He's like, that's all I need to see.
You can't teach effort, and
we
can't
can,
teach
we can
drive
figure out
and
the
hunger.
rest later. Now he averages 17 by a senior, and he's probably the most. I guarantee you, more guards in the draft are going to duck him in workouts. They do not want that problem, because especially like, and if I'm him, I'm like Trae Young, Colin said, I need whoever they at. I
Do you
need
know
them.
what that does? Oh man.
Oh yeah, he get lottery money. I'm like, I need all wherever they working out. I need to be with
Put
them.
one of them in a box.
Yeah,
It's over.
it's on.
It only needs to happen once.
So, you know how that
No,
go.
it's huge, man. But before we get off air, you guys, any last playoff thoughts? Anything that's popped up that you guys seen that?
98-84. Wizards are trailing by 14. 2:44 left in the third.
Okay.
Yeah.
So back to any lasting playoff.
I'm
thoughts?
just. Hopefully they come back when that's my lasting prediction.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it now, looking at the box score, and as we were just talking about them needing a big and talking about Gortat. Gortat is 0 for 4. He got 3 rebounds.
The legs are gone, man.
2 fouls. He's played 12 minutes.
He done.
So I'm saying, as we're talking about that position, you know, you looking at, you know, seeing what they doing as of now.
He might have to look at Jason Smith, man, because he
that's the thing. Your leader is what's it called, still on the roster? He's not on the roster anymore.
Who?
The young boy from Syracuse. He's not on the roster anymore.
He ain't ready.
Okay, he's still not ready. All right. Now I was just asking for just some type of warm body that runs and jumps. So.
Well, valid. You can't. That ain't fair to him to throw him in this type of.
Right now, we're up in this mess, yeah.
And he like 6'7", 6'8". What he gonna do? He can.
No, not
they
Devin
looking
Robinson.
at
I was talking about what's it called?
McCullough. You
McCullough.
talking McCullough?
He like 6'10", 6'11".
They bumping that up, but
Yeah.
he ain't ready for that. Man, you can't not in a playoff, not in this. Number 1 seed.
I'm grasping for straws, man. You need something like some type of life from that position, just a little bit. But yeah, any playoff thoughts from what we seen from this past week, real quick before we actually anything that stood out.
I mean, the Cavs lost.
I mean, yeah.
Petty, okay, okay.
I'm joking. I mean, I think the series that I'm watching the most, besides the Thunder, of course, is going to be. I like this Miami Sixers.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they're really well matched against each other, and it's to me, it's really exciting. And I always like when the games are like that. Like, you always think about like first round, it can kind of get out of hand, going back and forth. Wondering if anybody's going to get swept. You know, because right now I don't get the feeling, but, you know, it's still early. We just had the weekend games just now. So I'm really interested to see if the Spurs bounce back. You know, it's the Spurs, you know, we're not used to seeing them as a 7 seed or 8 seed, whatever they are now. I think it's a 7. So, yeah, I'm interested in those things.
All right, Cardell?
I want to see how my T-Wolves respond.
Yeah.
They had that game. I mean, James Harden went off, but they had that game. You know, James Harden did what he did. He stepped up. MVP, he stepped up and, you know, won the game. But it could have went to the Timberwolves. I kind of wanted Cat he got man up in that paint. He's the X factor. He got to be more like Anthony Davis to be the difference maker in that. And Jimmy Butler, I like what he's bringing, but I feel like he's pressing too much to show he's a superstar, man. Like, look, man, superstar just means getting it done. Like, even if you make the pass,
he's always been like that.
Yeah, even if you make that pass. So
about that
Wiggins or
bad
Towns,
shot.
best play don't always hit the shot. They make the play. So just worry about that. And, I mean, James Harden hard to guard, but that's what it is. You know, it is what it is. But somebody got to make it tough on him. You know, and you know, otherwise they're gonna lose because they got home court.
Yep. All right, I'm with you on the cat thing. You know, he has the ability to shift that series. How AD's shifting his. The kid's that special. Just about going out and doing it. It made me think about what LMA did in Game 2. LaMarcus did in Game 2 against the Warriors. No, he didn't win, but he shifted a lot of the damage the Spurs caused. It was him doing what he wanted to them bigs and causing issues. That's what freed up some of the shooters. Because for the most part, you're not getting free outside of, something happening inside. And so I agree with you. And Octavia, I'm right with you with that Sixer series. Last night was just a great marker of experience. Experience plays a role. He knew what needed to be done. Came
He's
out
reborn.
Landed one heck of a punch in the first half, and it's a punch his team needed. And then he finished it off with the dagger late.
Right.
Even after the Sixers came back, I credit the kids for fighting back in that situation. But he put them away.
And that's why he's first ballot Hall of Fame, man.
All day. So I mean, that's just some of the things sticking out in my mind. And I'm probably one of the only people like actually watching the Warriors Spurs series. But just because I'm enjoying it, just because it's fun to watch. I know obviously the Spurs are shorthanded, but
it's a lot of former Cavs doing work for other teams in the playoffs. My bad.
Hey, look, man, experience.
I mean, they're everywhere, aren't they?
Apparently, experience was no longer. It was a bad thing on the resume when they went through the trade deadline. So we're gonna see you guys next week, same time, same place, right here on the Focus TV. Don't forget, go over to finestmag.com and mymodelsports.com for your latest sports coverage in this area. Experience was no longer. It was a bad thing on the resume when they went through the trade deadline. So we're gonna see you guys next week, same time, same place, right here on the Focus TV. Don't forget, go over to finestmag.com and mymodelsports.com for your latest sports coverage in this area.